What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the recording. One last video before I take Huck and Ruby to dog training. You know, when you adopt a pet, putting in the time to work on training, socialization, and things of that nature are part of the package. And, you know, committing to a couple hours a week is not much to do, but, you know, they really like it. And we're doing agility tonight, which they both love. So I'm looking forward to that. And then also to this interview from a brave Twitter employee who has now come out to say, basically, I'm not freaking out like everyone else. Everything's going to be fine. And you know what? He's right. 100% right. And, you know, speaking on, you know, under terms of anonymity, because, well, he probably has to, because he's surrounded by lunatics at his job who will probably make his life terrible. So let's get into the article. No sponsor on this video. By the end of the night, let me ask a quick favor. I want to hit 20,000 people on the newsletter. We're at like 8,500 right now. If everybody watching this opens a new window, heads over to thequartering.com, puts their email address in the upper right-hand corner, hit subscribe, then you'll get an email back that says that you need to confirm it, and then you'll be on the list. We'll do something fun maybe tomorrow with that. And also, I take advice for the website. I got a huge list of upgrades rolling out in the next 3 to 5 business days, and that's coming directly from you. So I really appreciate everyone that's signing up. And no, I'm not going to spam you Amazon affiliate links and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to keep the communication about business. Now, here's a couple of quotes that snuck into the New York Post article from one particular interview in a all hands on deck or Slack meeting. Quote, I don't really care much about him. I don't really care. I would just love free speech to be the highest priority. I don't care who leads that, especially for minorities like myself. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I had no rights at all in my home country, said a woman in the design department. Uh-oh, double uh-oh. A walk, a woman of color, supporting free speech. You know, it's, and also clearly a probably first generation immigrant. Isn't it funny how so many of these, you know, you find so many great examples of the embodiment of the American spirit in immigrants far more than leftists. You know, you go down to Florida, you talk to a lot of these people that moved here, came here, worked hard. They love this country. That's why I don't get on board with, you know, look, I want people to be able to come here legally. I want a better way, a quicker way, a more streamlined way for people to get here, because these people are more patriotic than most people on the left. They also write, another software engineer wrote, I do think it's obvious that our policies are biased. Everyone has bias. And I would personally like to see more balance. I don't know if Musk is the right person to do that, but the idea of someone who might be less biased towards things we are already biased on is something that I like. Then we have, I'm a Twitter employee who was at the all hands on meeting after Elon Musk bought the company. I'm not freaking out like everyone else. I woke up yesterday morning to the news that Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter was imminent. My notifications went off on Twitter and on my phone. People asked me about it. I had as much information as everyone else. Internally, people were speaking to a wall, trying to get more information. Leadership was apologetic, but almost all of us learned everything we knew from the press, which that sucks. I mean, like, that would suck. Like, there were a couple cases of this, I think. Was it last year or Activision Blizzard? I think there was some news of layoffs that like were employees. That sucks. I don't care who, like, you've got to have some humanity towards people, right? I joined Twitter last year as a machine learning engineer shortly before Jack Dorsey, Twitter's former CEO, stepped down. You mean was forced out to make room for Parag Agrawal. Back then, people felt like this was a natural progression for the company, but on Monday, employees were a lot more emotional about that news. This is via Business Insider, by the way. At work, I had a couple of people cancel meetings because they were preoccupied. People said, I have a lot on my mind today. Can we reschedule? What do you mean? Just work. Just do your job. Why are people so fragile? This is understandable. But I also wondered what we could do about the situation. In a Slack group, one employee shared one of Musk's old tweets, the infamous pregnant man tweet. They asked, how am I going to explain this to my children? I work for someone who tweets like this. What, men can't be pregnant? That's just a biological fact. What are you telling your children otherwise? Like that's just, I mean, that's, I don't know what else to tell you. That's just the fact. That's just the fact of it all. I mean, what is so hard to tell your children about the fact that men can't have kids? I don't know. I don't know. It seems weird to me. Others worried about whether Musk would reinstate Donald Trump. We all know, yes, this is like the biggest. This is the biggest fear of all of them. What that might mean for misinformation and freedom of speech on the platform. Some joked about polishing up their resumes, while a handful threatened to leave. Others advised caution and told workers not to say anything they might regret later. Probably good advice. At around noon, management also announced that there would be a production freeze where no changes could be made on the site until Friday. But I think Musk taking over Twitter could be a good thing. Here's why. Musk is a boss who understands the product. I joined Twitter after working for several startups. I love the product and thought it was an amazing tool. As a user, I even made real friends through Twitter. But when I got to Twitter, it felt like the product development had slowed down. I knew to temper my expectations. People move slower in more established tech companies. There are always people trying to do good things, but sometimes the organization is what slows you down. It's the big ship in a small harbor syndrome. Our newsfeed isn't as engaging as TikTok's or even Facebook's. And as an engineer, I saw a lot of easy and obvious fixes that could change that. Sometimes the quote goes around the valley is that Twitter is the clown car that drove into a gold mine. As unprofessional as Musk's tweets can be, I think his relationship to Twitter is similar to mine. He signals to me that he's a boss who understands the product. Musk's a determinate optimist and hardened pragmatist. Historically, Twitter has been slow. It's doing fine, but it doesn't charge forward. I'm not saying that it will absolutely happen with Musk, but there's obviously good and bad to the culture he instills. But I think Twitter can learn a lot from his willingness to try new things. A good example of this, internally, people have been working on an edit button. The team has been working on it for a year. When Musk was just a shareholder and he tweeted, let's try and make an edit button happen, internally there was backlash where people thought they were threw under the bus and made it look like we didn't have the idea. But the truth is that everyone had the idea. While we were so upset at the team, now there's considering pushing up a deadline to make things happen. Have you considered just shipping the edit button now? It could take some wind out of Musk's dumping his stock if that's what he does. Paraj has to answer for legitimate concerns during the all hands. To me, the way Paraj addressed the issue of a heartfelt speech felt direct, though some might disagree. He said that the company had always known what free speech is and that free speech is a concept that wouldn't change. With Musk on board, it sounded like he was saying that we'd still work in this fuzzy area where we'd always worked in, and that would always be a push and pull. It felt like, though, Paraj was saying we'd still be operating in the same zone. He also mentioned that there was no plans for layoffs right now, which felt uncertain. Well, we're a hybrid team right now. I plan to return to the office and to meet people at work. I'm hoping to take the pulse and help calm people down. It feels like there are a lot of voices that have people worried for good and bad reasons, but I hope we can minimize some of these worries. This hype of this is fun. It's getting played up on Twitter, but I don't know how much things will actually change. I mean, and that's really the long and short of it. I don't think that a ton is going to change. I mean, I will say that, a lot more people have followed me, which is really awesome. But I think that's probably because more people are just reactivating their accounts. By the way, feel free to follow me at the quartering. I don't feel like there's been any shadow ban lifting. I haven't had tweets go like crazy viral. I haven't, seen any major changes. And I wouldn't expect any major changes for at least 6 months. For now, we must wait. Us content creators, people on Twitter, build your following, build your networks. Do not abandon alt tech. 6 months from now is a very long time. That's going to be into October. It's not even summer yet. It'll be around Halloween before this deal is ever really done. And what happens between now and then is going to tell us a lot more about, if this is really ever going to, if Twitter could ever really reach its full potential. I talk about this like anecdotally from time to time, but I remember when Trump was banned and Parler was just barely active, I soared. I had so many followers there. I had more followers on Parler, I think, or close to as many followers on Parler as I did on Twitter in like 2 days. And the interactions were bananas. I would tweet something out, we get thousands of interactions. It was like, that's what it's supposed to feel like. That's what Twitter's supposed to feel like. Now, it feels like that for leftists, but not to some. I have almost 190,000 followers on Twitter, and like, it's like really, really, really a lot if I ever get 1,000 interactions on a tweet. Now, they're not all bangers, and sure, some suck, but like, this past week has been a lot of fun. I've been getting a lot of traction, and I hope that there are more brave Twitter employees that come out and say like, hey, everything's going to be all right. I probably do a live stream on Thursday and maybe Friday as well. Please do remember, before the end of the day, just pop open a new window, head on over to thequartering.com. In the upper right-hand corner, please join my newsletter. It may be the only way I can ever contact you at some point. The way that shadow banning is, the way that bannings are, I have to have this as a backup. It takes just like 30 seconds. Drop your email, go to your email, confirm, done. And I will not spam you with, Amazon junk and all this other stuff. I just want to talk to you that way. And email is great. Otherwise, my Gilded is also great, which I'll leave linked in the pinned comment below. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.